Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's me, Heather Nichols, coming to you live for the Tailored Expressions Live. I'm obviously not in Iowa. I am in central Minnesota. And again, if you've been following along my story, I'm in kind of a temporary location so we're staying with my moms. We sold our house. We're building another house. It's a whole thing. So thank you guys for your patience. We're working through the technology piece of it too. So we appreciate your patience with that as well. So let me know you're here. Let me know you're watching in the chat. Let me know what you're up to. It has been hot summer days here in Minnesota. And I know that that is the same across the country. And we've had some crazy wild weather. We've been definitely some storms rolling through and things like that. But it is kind of those hot summer days has kind of been the thing. It did break this week. The humidity is way down this week where I am, and it's so nice. But then we have the wildfire smoke coming down from Canada. So it's just it's sunny outside, but it's definitely just a little bit hazy as well. It's one of those things where you don't want to go running, I guess, outside, but I'll stay in and craft. That's what I'm going to do. So I hope you all are doing well, and thank you for joining me. I'm going to pop up my chat. I have it on an iPad here so I can see who's in here. Good morning, Sue Banker. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, Deborah and Christine and Rachel and Joanne and Cheryl and Whitney. Good morning. And Rachel again. Sorry, to Rachel. I got you twice, Rachel. Good morning, Susan and Nancy and Jill. It's good to see you all this morning. You guys are all talking about already what is the big deal that's going on this week, and that is the Oh Christmas Tree kit that was released on Tuesday. The kit did sell out. It's one of those good problems to have. I'm sad that there aren't more so that everybody can have any, but it's really exciting that you guys were so excited about this kit. I illustrated and designed this kit, and believe me, it's not just me. There's a whole team of people where we are going back and forth and designing these kits. So yes, I illustrated and designed it, but all of the people at TE that I work with, Taylor and Aaron and Jeff and Susan, everybody's giving all sorts of feedback all the time, and we're putting together these curated kits for you. And we're so excited that you are excited about this one. I've had so much fun coming up with Christmas themes the past couple of years, and we talked about this a little bit last week. I did, I think the first one was candy canes, and then I did the wreath, and then we had the sweaters, and now we have the tree. So, and it's kind of a fun woodland, woodsy tree. And I love all of the different styles that the creative team came up with. We have rainbow trees and gold trees and sparkly trees. And of course, my rustic tree that's in my heart as well. So we're going to create with that kit today, even though it's sold out. I know there's so many of you waiting for that kit to come. So we're just going to share some extra inspiration with that kit, as well as on our social media. We're still sharing projects and things like that, so that when you get your kit, you can go back and look at all of the ideas that we have to share with you. You might have heard a jingle. That's my dog. She just entered the room. That's Maddie. Anyway, so again, thank you so much. Remember that most of the kit is exclusive, but we do release pieces of the kit later on, potentially. So look for that in the future. And this may not be your last chance to see some of the pieces in this kit. So stay tuned for that. If you want to watch more about the kit and look at more, like I said, our social media, Susan Block was live on Tuesday and did this gorgeous light up card in kind of blue tones for the Christmas tree. I really love that card. So make sure you check that out. Mindy Egan had a video on Tuesday on our YouTube channel. Check that out. And Alicia has a video today sharing a pair of cards that she created with the kit. So make sure you check all of that out, get all of the inspiration as well. So I am, everybody's talking about their kits are on the way. They're waiting for them to come. Somebody said she missed the kit. Yes, it happens. These kits, it's one of those things where, you know, we have just that certain amount, and it's hard to tell you guys. There are, you know, we do our best to get the numbers into the store so that everybody can get one, but sometimes we just can't predict how excited everybody is going to be about the kit. So again, thank you so much for supporting the kit. When you talk about when you're making a kit and it affects somebody personally, that would be me right here. You help support me and my family and the thing that I love to do for my job. So thank you so much. Okay, so we talked about the kit. The other thing that's going on is today, it's the last day of July. The July 3rd, I can't believe August is tomorrow already. That just blows me away how fast this summer has gone. But the last day of July, there's a couple of things. One being, this is the last day for the free gift with purchase for July, and then that's going to flip over to the August one tomorrow. And I'm sure you'll be seeing peaks of that. There's like the new free gift with purchase, but also the $100 gift as well. That all flips over at midnight. Now, if I were you, I wouldn't go and like try to order things at midnight to get something, because there's that little like, you know, time delay glitch thing. So just give it a little bandwidth if you're that excited for the August free gift with purchase things. The other thing that is today is it is the last day to register for Stamp Joy. So if you want to join us in person in Iowa in October, either in person or the virtual option that happens at the beginning of November, make sure that you register today, because after today, you can't register anymore. So, and we want to stamp with you, whether it be in person, which is so much fun to meet all of you in person and craft together, or if you join us virtually as well. I love the virtual option, so we can have an option for everybody to participate in our events. So that's today, the last date. Tomorrow morning, it won't be there. So make sure if you want to come join us that you do that and register today. So, okay, let me see. I'm sure we're talking about, yes, August. And yes, come join us at Stamp Joy. Oh my gosh, Claudia said school starts today in Arizona. Holy cow, that seems so early. I know my husband has some cousins down in Arizona, and they started school, I think, last week. So it's amazing how early stuff. Minnesota schools don't tend to start until after Labor Day. Sometimes they do start in August, depending on things, I guess, but typically we don't start school up here until September. So August, especially the beginning of August, feels so early. My goodness. I don't know. I need a few more weeks of just summer stuff yet. So part of it is that's just not what I'm used to up here as well. So, okay, what do you think? Let's talk about next week. Before we start crafting today, let's talk about next week. We have a release coming your way next week. So I have a sneak peek for you. And we have a couple of themes coming this week. The projects that I'm going to show you cover one of those themes. And so I will just flip them up here very quickly. You're going to recognize something on my projects. I'm just going to lift them straight up and go down. I'm going to be quick with this one, you guys. So we're going to go up and down. So there's your peek for next week. So you saw one of the themes that's going to be released next week, and you will recognize, if you got the book kit that came out in January, Treat Your Shelf, that is coming back next week. And we had a lot of fun playing with a new theme with it, and I'm sure you caught what that theme was by looking at that sneak peek. So there you go. There's your peek. And if you are on the Fans of Tailored Expressions Facebook page, you'll see more this weekend, and also on our social media as well, leading up to the release on Tuesday. So make sure you join Taylor on Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Live, and she will be sharing more about the new release and crafting along with you as well. So that's what's going on next week. I think I've covered everything that's going on. So why don't we get crafting? I'm going to flip you around. So you're first going to get a little shot of the lake. We got to do this little technology thing here. So thank you for bearing with us. So let me flip you around. There's that pretty lake that I get to look at while I'm crafting with you here on the porch. And we'll flip down to my workspace. Thank you guys so much for your patience with all of this. I tighten everything up as well. And you're getting a peek of my projects that we're going to create today. I'm trying to zoom you in just a little bit closer here. So sorry about this. Okay, we're just going to adjust here. So here are my projects. You've probably seen them on my blog, seen them on social media as well that I created with the kit. We are going to create this card today and kind of do a little bit of a woodland look. Also rustic, but lots of sparkle and shine on this card. So that's what we're going to create. Here's a closer look at the cards that I created the other set. So I did my toffee cardstock and stamped those snowflakes in white with that split stamp. This is green tea and Brussels sprout. And then I did my ornaments with cherry pop, and I did a little layer of that gold glitter, happy medium gold glitter over the top. So there is a peek at those, and let's start crafting this one. So this card, I am not doing the background on this card. We are just going to stamp the tree on this one, and then we're going to create the background with an embossing folder. So let's start off by doing some stamping. I've got my mini Misty here, and we're going to pop that in. Grab my adhesive and just put a little adhesive down to hold that cardstock in place. And then let's grab that split stamp. So again, that split stamp has that snowflake background, and then it also has the tree. You can use them together, so you can have the perfectly lined up pieces, or you can use the pieces on their own. So I'm going to pull that tree out because that's all we're going to need. And I don't need it to be any place specific on this piece of cardstock because we're going to cut it out. I'm going to stamp this. So this has the tree trunk and the branches. We're going to stamp this with Mocha ink on sugar cube cardstock. Let's close that up. I got to get my Just Press tool. Open that up. We've got the tree on there. And again, it's not perfectly centered on this. That's okay. We're going to be die cutting this out. So I've got my tree trunk. Let's grab those stencils, and we're going to add the greenery. Now the stencil set has 3 stencils, 2 that do the greenery and then 1 for the ornaments. I'm not going to use this one. We're going to add our ornaments separately. So we're going to start off with the first layer. So these 2 look very similar, but basically you're creating kind of that fullness in that tree. Oop, sorry about the bumping. I'm just going to add a little pixie spray to the back of my stencils. That's what I like to use. And then if you look at the stencil, there is an etched guideline of the tree trunk. So you can line that up right over the top of that stamped tree trunk. I'm going to start off with green tea ink for this layer. So I've got my bitty blender brush, and we're going to blend with green tea ink. And get into all those little leaves, and then the bigger parts of greenery on the tree. Moving my brush both clockwise and counterclockwise. Pam, you love green tea ink too. It is fast becoming a favorite. All right, getting that all in there. When you are feeling good about your color coverage, you can go ahead and take that stencil off. There is the first part of the tree. And let's go ahead, and I've got that second part. I'm going to spray a thin layer of pixie spray on the back. If you don't want to use pixie spray, you can use magnet or tape or whatever you like to hold those stencils in place. Stacy's asking, this is the pixie spray right here that I'm spraying on the back. It's just like a light spray adhesive if you've not ever used it before. I find I usually don't focus on scrubbing that off the back because I use it all the time. But also, if you're cleaning your stencils with the rubbing alcohol, which it needs to be that 90-some%, this percent, 91% alcohol, that tends to get most of that sticky off of the stencil, I'm finding. So I don't really stress about totally making sure all of that's removed. Okay, so we're going back to Brussels sprout for the second color on the tree. I feel like I have a shadow in my bottom corner, you guys. I apologize about that. Here, we're just going to flip the camera just a little bit. Sorry about that. Like I said, we are working through the technology piece here. All right, this is the Brussels sprout ink for our second layer. Applying it just like I did that first layer. Brussels sprout and green tea play so nice together. I pair them quite often when I'm blending if I want to have a little bit of a darker shade of color. And they just, I don't know, they just coordinate with each other so well. Kind of like some of the other new colors that we had come out. The Tiki Mule and Royal Icing are beautiful together, and the Persimmon and Papaya are beautiful together. I love these pairs of color that just work so well together. All right, let's take that off. And there is the tree, and I actually should not have taken that off. So I'm going to actually replace that stencil. I just wanted you to get a good look at that tree, because before we move on to the next step, I'm going to add some sparkle. So I'm lining that stencil back up again with what I just did. And it doesn't have to be perfectly exact for this. So typically I would leave this in place because we're going to add sparkle with that Happy Medium Gold glitter. So here is the Happy Medium Gold glitter, and we are going to use the Nuvo Media spatula. You can use whatever kind of tool you want to spread your glitter, and we're just going to add that right over the top and through the stencil. Now, use a light touch when you're putting this on here, especially in these big open areas. I want a thin layer of that Happy Medium glitter to cover that whole surface. But if you're pressing hard, like here, I'm going to press hard, it actually scoops a lot of that glitter out of the section. So just lightly spread over the top, like you're frosting a cake, kind of. I feel like I can fuss with getting my glitter spread out for a long time. And then once you get this all applied, we'll peel this stencil off, but you need to make sure this Happy Medium glitter dries completely. And you can give it a good hour. I like to actually just walk away from it for a while, sometimes overnight, because then I'm assured that it is all the way dry. But our paste, our Happy Medium paste, the glitter ones take a little bit too dry. So there is, I'm going to tip it there so you can see the glitter on there on all of those dark things. It gives kind of that overall shimmer. Now, because we are doing this live, I'm not going to wait for this to dry. I have one ready to go. Susan did this the other day too. The magic of being live, all of a sudden I have one that's completely dry. So there's a look at it, kind of wet, there's it dry. It actually flattens out quite a bit and just kind of adds that thin layer of glitter right over the color. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, probably behind me up here. Yep, April, the kit is sold out, but we tend to release pieces of kits at a later date. So just keep watching. And you might get lucky in the near future or longer. I don't know. They don't tell me. Okay, we're going to cut out this tree. So I'm going to grab my die cut machine. Set that in here. Move a couple of these things off to the side over here. So let's grab that die for the tree. And the die set in the kit comes with, it has the tree, it has some stars, it has the presents on there. So there's all sorts of fun things to use with your tree. We're not going to do presents today for my project, but you've seen, I'm sure, lots of examples of the presents on the creative team projects. All right, let's line up this die around the tree. Tape that in place with some Scotch removable tape. And we'll send that through the die cut machine. Sorry about the jiggling. We'll cut out that tree. Beautiful. Now I've got a few other things I need to do while I've got my die cut machine out. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to emboss the background with that Tiny Twinkles embossing folder. Susan used this one on the bottom part, the snow part of her card on Tuesday, and I'm using it for kind of that full background here. So I need to set up my big shot, take out that extra plate so that we can do that. So we're just going to add this piece of sugar cube cardstock into the folder and send that through. Whoop. To emboss it. This is one of my top favorite embossing folders. I have used this one so many times, and even though it came out, I think it was with kind of our wintry kit in last year, it's a great one to use with florals and all sorts of different theme. It's not just a wintry embossing folder for sure. So I use that. And then the other thing we're going to cut out, the emboss set, is I'm going to need a little snow at the bottom of my card. So I've got a strip of cardstock the width of that background, and we're going to use the Build a Scene Snow Drifts die collection to cut some snow. Okay, so let's put this back together so we have the right sandwich for die cutting again. And I'm just going to do the gentle curve one. And I need some tape to hold that in place, and we're just going to trim off the top of this little strip. So my background is like the 3 3/4 by 5 inches. That's what I did this embossing thing. So this is 3 3/4 inch wide to add the snow to the bottom edge. So that is the plan. That's our goal. Okay, there is our snow drift. And that's going to go right down here on the bottom of that piece when we get to putting that card together. Okay, I think I have everything cut that I want to cut right now. So let's kind of start putting the actual card together. Set my die cut machine aside. All right, so we are going to adhere this embossed piece directly down here. Center that. This is an A2 size of green tea cardstock. I'm doing just the front panel because I'll use one of the pre-cut card bases to add that on when I'm ready to go. And then we've got our snow drift, and we're going to add that right to the bottom of that background panel. This is like the winter background of Champions. Snow drift, add what you will. Snowman, tree, whatever. Okay, so we've got our tree here. We're going to add that. I am going to grab my thin foam strips here. So we're going to just pop that up just a little bit. On there. So let's trim these down. Like I mentioned last time, these 1x3 strips are my favorite, and I use them all the time, just cutting them to what I need. I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the trunk to stick that down. more directly to that base. And then we're going to pop that tree on there. I'm going to add an angle, so I'm just tipping the card towards me so I can see where it goes. So there we go. Now, for the sentiments, I already pre-did the sentiments. So in the kit is the mini strips Holiday 2. So this is the sentiments that are included in the kit. And I embossed them on sugar cube cardstock with gold glitter embossing powder. So they have a shine from the gold, but a tiny sparkle as well from that glitter. It is one of my new favorites as far as when I'm doing gold, is to add that touch of sparkle. So that's what I did on sugar cube cardstock. And then of course, cut it out with that mini strips die to get a sentiment for my card. And mini strips, perfect for when you're mass producing, of course, because you get so many sentiments at one time. So I have a whole bunch because of course I did it a bunch of times. I think I've told you before, I am proponent. If you've got the stamp out, stamp it a bunch of times. And I like to pick the best of the ones that I'm choosing, but also the next time I'm going to make cards, I can go and my sentiments are ready to go. Okay, so let's add our sentiment strip on there, and then we're going to dress up our tree a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my 1x3 mini strips here. And we're going to cut the strip to match the mini strip. And then, like I said, I'm at an angle because of how my tripod is. So I am just lining up this mini strip right across the tree there. Like that, like so. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I wanted to use those cute little winter birds. And so I picked this cardinal. So the winter bird set has 4 different birds, 2 cardinal kind of poses, 1, 2, actually there's 5 birds, and then 3 others. There's a partridge and then 2 other birds, and then the little pear, so you can do the partridge in a pear tree. There's so many cute examples of that. But we're going to create the little cardinal to sit right on the sentiment strip right there. So I actually pre-cut these out. I cut them out of the main part of the bird is cut out with cherry pop cardstock. We've got the wing and the main part of the bird out of cherry pop. And then I actually cut out another bird out of sweet potato pie because I wanted my beak to be orange. So we're going to actually trim that down. And then the little kind of mask on the bird is cut out of poppy seed cardstock. So let's go ahead, and this is going to be a little bit fussy to do the bird, but it's so worth it because the birds are so cute in this tree. I think these birds are going to be, we're going to be playing with these birds with all sorts of projects throughout the year, I think. Okay, so this is going to be just a little tiny, but let me grab my liquid glue. I'm going to add that wing on here first. Oop. And I moved my wing. That's okay. Got more wings. Like I said, when you're cutting, cut out a bunch. Okay, so I did my wing kind of the same color cardstock. You could do it out of a darker cardstock if you wanted to, but I just think it just adds the dimension, even if it's the same color. Then to do the orange beak, I'm going to take that orange bird that I cut out. You could also use like a marker or something like that to create the orange beak. But I just kind of went and cut kind of his face out with the scissors from that piece. So really I have the beak and kind of some of his eye, if that makes sense. And then we're going to just stick that right on his little face right there. So I haven't put on the little black mask piece yet. We're going to add the beak piece. Sorry, I have to slide these off of my glass mat to pick them up. Whoop. This is where you need your tweezers and your patience, right? Oop. So, right, they are putsy, but worth it. So I'm just going to use my craft pick to kind of slide this beak into place. We're just about there. Right there. So there you can see the beak is where we want it to be. And then I've got the little black mask piece. Just going to add a little bit of glue right to the back of that. Okay, let's see if I can get this little piece on without dropping it. Oh, that is like almost perfect to where it should be. Little bird. Don't touch it, Heather. You had it right. The little craft pick is so great for kind of moving the little pieces around. So there we go. We've got our little birdie all set. I am going to let him dry just a minute before we add him to the card. So let's look at the ornaments that I did for the tree. Like I said, I added something separately to the tree. So if you look, I have ornaments added that are cut out of gold glitter cardstock and gold foil cardstock. And I cut them out with, this is the new die that came out to coordinate with the pear blossom lights. So this is the See the Light. So you can cut different shapes into your card to accommodate the lights behind. But this is also a great die collection for cutting out little pieces to accent your cards. There's little tiny stars and there's little tiny hearts and the little candle flames. They could also be Christmas lights as well. So I saw this as an opportunity to cut out little ornaments for my tree. And I did that off camera because they are a little bit putsy because they are little. So I just took one of our little dishes and I filled it up with little ornaments cut out of the gold glitter cardstock and the gold foil cardstock. So let's add those onto the tree. I am going to actually use my other card as a guide, and I'm going to add some little dots where I want my ornaments to go. And grab my pick and place tool as well. And let's go ahead and get the little things on there while our little bird is drying. So I need an ornament here. Looks like here, here, here. When you're mass producing cards too, once you get your card design down, just copying your other card as far as placement, because I mean, for me, placing little embellishments sometimes is one of the things that takes me the longest to do because I'm fussing with where those pieces are going. So I'm going to grab my little tool here and we're going to just start adding and just kind of randomly adding the glitter cardstock and foil cardstock pieces. I'm not worrying if that's totally matching the other card that I'm doing. I'm just going to add them on there. All these are flipped upside down. There is a glittery one. Let's put that over there. The foil one. Let's put that up there. And a little tiny glitter one maybe up here. Ooh. These are always never the direction that I want them to be. They're always upside down. Whoop. Put a little foil one here maybe. And it looks like I have, I have two more little dots of glue. I want some more glittery ones. I'm gonna flip pieces around. That's a foil one. If the gold glitter cardstock and the foil is the same on the back, so it's hard to tell what's what. There's a teeny little glittery one, and let's do another teeny little glittery one. And of course, if you don't want to do where you cut out your pieces and you stick them on like I'm doing here, gold glitter drops are perfect. The gold drip drops are great. The yes, Jamie's saying you could use the ornament layer, stencil layer to use as a guide for setting your ornaments. And that's absolutely true. You could do that as well. I just went for it on this one. Yes, fussy, but makes me happy. There are the cards that you do quick, and there's cards that are definitely a little bit more fussy. I like the putsy kind of cards. I like quick cards too. But I do love just sitting and puttering with little tiny details on a card. That is something that I do love. And I know that there are others out there like me. Yes, Joanne, those single dies, and I didn't cut mine apart yet. I probably will at some point. That allows you to cut a hole kind of wherever you want. If you want a light to come through, maybe you need a hole for a different reason. Maybe you have a tag that you need a hole on for the top. That would work for that. You could even do the little star hole for a tag if you want. That'd be cute and festive. Okay, so I've got my little bird, and I just stuck some of the little foam square on the back here. And we're going to peel that off. He's dried just enough that he's not, you know what we didn't do? We did not splatter. That's okay. You can look at these and you can see the difference between the splattered one and the regular one. You don't always have to splatter, but I did splatter on the original card. Okay, so I've got this panel done. Let's get the card base so we can actually make this an actual card. That is right here. That card actually comes together fairly quickly without, I mean, if you were going to do, like I said, pre-cut a lot of your stuff, and it goes together fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and use my tape runner. I'm going to add the adhesive directly to the card base instead of flipping over the panel that I've been working on and risking something falling off or smushing or whatever. I'm going to stack this up to line that up on the base. And there we go. So a kind of a little bit more of a rustic, naturey look to this card with the cute little bird sitting there. And of course you could put any of the birds on there as well. Some sparkly ornaments, a lot of shimmer and shine on that tree by adding that layer of the happy medium gold glitter on there. And yay. So let's take a look too, just at the difference between the splattered card and the non-splattered card. So you can see in this here, I splattered just on the tree on here, and it is a definitely very subtle effect. Again, I think it does add a little bit more texture and charm to the card, but that's something I prefer. I love that rustic kind of splattered look. But still, this card is beautiful and rustic as well on its own as well. Yes. Danina is saying she forgets sometimes too. I did splatter on my original card, but then when I'm laying out all the pieces here and getting all set, we didn't do that. Perry's wondering about the signature toffee. That's right. A lot of times if I don't add toffee on the card, I do flip it over and add it on the card base, just because then it's at least there for all of us to see, right? So I can create without toffee, you guys. I can do it. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave the camera down so I'm not flipping it all around again. Thank you so much for joining me today. Like I said, the kit is sold out, but we always want to provide you with an ample amount of inspiration. And you might actually have some products in your own collection, if you're not getting the kit, that you might create something similar or use some of the ideas that you found today. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you soon. Have a good day and good weekend, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.